What's up? Welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today, Ohana means family, and family means I saw Lilo and Stitch, the 2025 version. This is available now on Disney Plus with audio description done by Deluxe. It's narrated by Kim Davis. I believe that was her name. And it's it's a remake, obviously a live action remake. It's Disney is doing this thing where they keep live action. This has been a big hit for them, so they already greenlit Lilo and Stitch 2, which could be very interesting because I don't think they're going to remake Stitch Has a Glitch, so it'll give them an opportunity to really explore Stitch as a character um, without the trappings of having to follow the plot of the original film and the beats of the original film and all that kind of stuff. So this year we also had How to Train Your Dragon, which was a very similar situation. And I already reviewed that. So just a hot take, a little quick side note, side trip to that. While Dean Dubois basically did the exact same thing, just expanded it and turned it into live action. It's very similar. At the end of the day, it's like, well, what would I choose? Of course, I would still choose the original animated one because I think it's one of my favorite films of all time, and there's really nothing really to change it. So while I think the remake is great, it's great because the first one was great, because you're following the beats of something better. But when you have to choose a film to put on, why would you choose the live action one over the animated one if the animated one is the original, is the classic? I don't think that they necessarily made the case for that. There's something to be said for being too close to the original product, because then you're just saying, well, all we were doing was rendering things basically. And just so Lilo and Stitch is a little bit of that. It's got a couple of different things, but it's basically that. And it has it has a cast of people that mostly I did not memorize their names for this video. I am sorry. Uh, but like notably, you've got like Zach Galifianakis and Billy Magnussen are playing the alien duo from space that comes down um, to try to trap Stitch. Stitch is being voiced by the same person, same voice as original, so that didn't change. But the rest of the live action cast is basically new. They did put Tia Carrere, who voiced Noni in the first film. She's here in a different role in the live action, so that was kind of cool. But everybody else is new and fresh, which is lovely, because I have to say the girl that they got to play Lilo is adorable, and they should sign her to like a 10 picture deal and just put her in everything. I want to see her everywhere. She is amazing. Just a lovely child actress. I think it's one of the strongest child performances ever in film. I truly believe that. Like, just sort of like a discovery where you pick somebody and it's like rolling the dice, and Home Alone doesn't work without Macaulay Culkin. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, this film doesn't work if Lilo isn't believable and adorable. Plus, she also has this unrealistic expectation of having to be like Lilo from a movie. So not only does she have to be incredibly precocious herself and carry the movie as a living human being, but she also has to mirror this performance. Otherwise, people will be like, well, she wasn't like the animated Lilo. And you put all that on a child? Yeah, I think it's fucking brilliant. Like, I think the added pressure of having to be like, can you be like this? Can you mirror her? Can you be exactly like this? Can you do this? I think that is a lot to put on a young girl like this, because this is obviously like a different age group than the cast of like How to Train Your Dragon, which is a little bit older. So like Mason Thames obviously can conceptually understand a lot more at his age. Um, so lovely performance from our Lilo. and it does hit a lot of the same beats, but it does also change up a couple little things. And I thought some of those things helped to make the movie a little bit better. And a little answer the question of, well, how does this make this version different? It's pretty much the same thing, but like with a couple of just, oh, they did that a little bit differently. Oh, they did that a little bit differently. Oh, that's a little bit different. The film has a slightly different ending to it. And I think it makes the film stand out. So if you have never seen Lilo and Stitch before, I guess I should say the plot of the movie. Although also you've never seen Lilo anyway. So Stitch is, Experiment 626, and he's in space and he's been sentenced to exile, which I don't really understand because they sentenced him. He's still in exile either way. The film ends with him. Nothing has changed. He was sentenced to exile on a distant planet, and so it's Earth or whatever. And they're like, "Oh, good, his planet made of mostly water." And then they get worried because he lands on an island, and then they send people after him, and I'm like, he's exiled from what? Like, I think they were hoping that he would sink, but then that's not exile because then he would just die. Like, then you've anyway. I'm so confused by this initial like catalyst to send the other two aliens after him. It's like he is exiled. He landed on the planet. He Do you not understand what exile is? So yeah, so they send the two aliens, again, voice slash played by Zach Galifianakis and Billy Magnuson after Stitch, and one of them is the Earth expert. That's Billy's character, and Zach plays the scientist that created Stitch. And Stitch lands, and he ends up getting taken in, and he's in like an animal shelter with other dogs and Lilo, who's been having a bit of a hard time. The original Lilo and Stitch movie was sort of warmly accepted by the autism community for Lilo having, like, being representative of that. This film could have embraced that a little bit more. It doesn't. So I don't think they want that on this movie. They had sort of like an opportunity over the last, it's sort of an interesting thing I was thinking about, because it's been some time since the original film to now, and I've seen Lilo and Stitch listed as positive representation for autism. It's never mentioned in the film. Whether or not she is on the spectrum or not, nobody ever talks about it. It's not a thing that they decided to like lean into. If anything, they lean away from it. So I don't think they want that. But anyway, you can still find representation where you want it, I guess. But Lilo, it's the same beats. She has that play thing that doesn't go well. She pushes the girl off the stage, and she gets kicked out of her performance because Nani wasn't there, and Nani is still trying to make it happen and take care of her little sister after their parents died, and the social worker's there, and yeah, then they end up going to the animal shelter. She hears there's the shooting star or whatever, and Lilo makes a wish, but Lilo wishes for a best friend that will never leave her because nobody likes her, which is such a weird thing. I was thinking about that during the movie. I was like, her parents just died. Who are these fucking children? Like, who are these rude ass children who are ostracizing the girl with the dead parents? Like, who are these assholes? Go find these kids and smack all of them. Like, she's being bullied by kids. Anyway, so yeah, she's apparently goes to school with a bunch of assholes. So, falling from the sky is Stitch, and it's apparently going to answer her wish. And they're at the animal shelter, and she's looking at maybe getting a dog, and she finds Stitch instead. And Stitch pretends to be a dog, even though he's blue and looks nothing like a dog. Um, and they're not really sure he is a dog, and they don't really know what he is. But because it's Disney, they allow Lilo to go home with Stitch. So Stitch takes advantage of using Lilo as cover because he knows he's being hunted by the duo. Meanwhile, there's also the CIA agent who knows that an alien spacecraft has landed, and has come over to investigate. And that role was played by, um, yep, I remember. It's I'll come back to it. Um, it's killing me because I know he's been in everything. Uh, and so yeah, a bunch of people are looking for Stitch. So Stitch hides with Lilo and his family, this blue alien. So along the way, Stitch sort of learns what Ohana means and what it means to be family through Lilo's persistence that Stitch is family. And Stitch tries to help and save Lilo. Stitch has a constant problem with water because it weighs him down. It creates so he can't swim, and is really heavy when he's in water. So they they have a couple of sequences in water where they have to save Lilo or save Stitch or save both of them. And it is exactly following the beats of the first movie, just again with like slight little like changes, because they're like, well, we're live action, so now we can do this, or we should do this, or this gag will work here. So that's why like the runtime is a little bit different, is because they can expand upon something and they can have a beat here, a beat there. They can add some things. I thought the audio description was interesting. There's a scene where Nami makes tea, and it says that she squirts a juice box because she doesn't have any tea, and then heats up this juice box, and then the woman, the agent or whatever that's there to check on Nani, tastes it, and then she later on she recognizes, she goes, "This is Capri Sun, isn't it?" And I'm like, "Wow, you branded it, okay." Well, Capri Sun comes in a pouch, so in the audio description I would have said juice pouch if it's Capri Sun. But because Capri Sun is pretty much like famous for always being that thing that we drank out of the pouches. We had to stab the straw into it, and it's always felt like a challenge. So, like, I think everybody knows what Capri Sun is, and it's not in a box. So, unless there's some radical change in packaging in the last year, that I'm not gonna say I drink Capri Sun all day, every day, but for most of my life that I've Capri Sun has been around, and it's always been in a pouch. So, just little things. But I liked this movie, but again, I'm running into the same thing again where I'm like, would I? However, the scale with Disney remakes is often that sometimes they don't do the remake well, or they don't come up with a good reason for having done it, and the remake kind of falls flat, or it's just okay, or they were headed in the right direction and then they decided, nah, we're gonna go over here. So like Snow White is a hot mess because it never really knows what it wants to be. It's trying to be everything and then make everybody happy. It feels like a movie that was constantly being yelled at by various members of cancel culture who were threatening it from all different sort of angles, so it never was anything. And you have other films where it's always like I could see people and why they would choose some of these films. like the Cinderella, right? Because it's live action, but it's not a musical. It's perfectly fine. And if you're not a big fan of the animated cartoon, you want something a little bit more grown up that where they're not breaking into song every 5 seconds, cool. Then you have the live action Cinderella from a couple years ago. I did think that like putting Tim Burton on Alice in Wonderland made sense because he created this sort of zany, wacky Alice in Wonderland. That's one of the few films that I think is completely different. Like you either make the choice to watch the animated film because it follows certain beats, or you just want to see what Tim Burton did with Alice in Wonderland. Um, I think Maleficent is one of the films that stands out as being like, yeah, we did this differently, and there's a reason for doing this. We switched the perspective. But then you have films like Little Mermaid, where did we really make enough changes? Like, what was the reason for doing this? Representation should not be the sole reason for making a film. I thought Little Mermaid was fine, but at the same time, it's always going to run into that problem where I'm like, I still liked the cartoon better. I don't think the music that they added was necessarily, consistently any better. They already had music for the Broadway musical that they didn't use, which is the same thing I can say about the Beauty and the Beast live action adaptation. It's like you already had music. You had very similar music too. Like they actually had to rewrite If I Can't Love Her and into Nevermore. It's the same song. I mean, Beast sings about the same thing twice in two different songs. Why? Yeah. You know, so it's sort of like you had something that was working and ran on Broadway for a long time, and then you were like, well, we kind of want to do that, but we don't want to do it with those songs. We want to write different songs. But why? A lot of times, and then you have films that are just sort of like just not great adaptations of the original work, or sort of unnecessary adaptations, or they don't really do anything, and they kind of got dumped on Disney Plus, like the Peter Pan and Wendy thing with Jude Law, where they could have explored some things more to make it different and change things up, but no, it's whatever. So they're all kind of like a mixed bag, and rarely ever do you sit down and watch a movie and go, this is either equal or better to the thing that came before it. Like that, like never happens. So where you're like, wow, we have made a better film. And I'd say the best case for it would be Maleficent, because of Angelina Jolie's performance and the fact that Sleeping Beauty is just not one of my favorite Disney animated films. And then from it tears down from there. So Lilo and Stitch benefits from Lilo and Stitch being a good movie as an animated cartoon, and then it just sort of embraces that. And it kind of comes out as being watchable because of that, but not watchable because it necessarily paved its own path, did its own thing. It didn't really justify why it needed to be here. But to say this film is rotten when it follows so many beats of the original film is also odd, because it means that you didn't really love the first movie, and then when you take the points off for lack of originality, that's how you get there, I guess. But I do really like the original Lilo and Stitch, so I did really enjoy this one. And I would, if somebody asked me, do you recommend this? I would say, sure, if you're curious, watch it. I mean, did you like the original? Then watch it. It's like the original film. And the girl playing Lilo is amazing. And actually, I like the actress who played Nani as well. So they're new and they're fresh faces, and they should be cast in everything. And I hope I see more from both of them in the future. I need to memorize both of their names. I mean, it's not that unusual to think that they could go on to have careers, because Holly Carvalho from Moana was just a voice actress, and she's had plenty of things to do since Moana. So we could see both of these actresses again. I hope we do, especially since we're getting at least a Lilo and Stitch too, so they should both be back for that. Anyway, I thought the audio description was fine. Uh, I don't know that it did an excellent job of describing Stitch if you've never had an idea of what Stitch is. Also, but also there is the original Lilo and Stitch, so you could just watch that. I mean, that has audio description as well. So it's not one of those films where I'm like, I think that this lived and died. Sometimes I look at sequels of things and I'm like, well, I don't know that we need to keep describing the same person over and over when you should have probably seen the original thing. Here, there is an original film and it has audio description. So uh, it's okay. Uh, it's fine. Lilo and Stitch is fine. I think people are mad at it because Disney just keeps cashing in, and so that's what this is cash in. We don't need to throw awards at it, but am I gonna throw and say, no, bad movie, bad, down? No, I'm not. So I'm gonna give Lilo and Stitch 2025 a 7.3 out of 10. I would give, and I'm going to put a review up of the original Lilo and Stitch, and it will be a higher grade than that. So if you want to know how big the difference is and how big the gap is, watch that and find out what I think about the original Lilo and Stitch. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the other side.